Call to order. Pledge of allegiance, please. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please.
Campbell.
Here.
Dempsey.
Here.
Fournier.
Here.
Hammond.
Here. Here.
Menser. Voorhees.
Here.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda item 4, announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. Do we have any at this time, Mr. Johnson?
No, ma'am.
Nothing else listed? Okay. Does anyone else have any acknowledgements, communications, and reports that the commission? Hearing none, we'll move on to adoption of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Kropp, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Support. Okay, roll call, please.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Kropp.
Yes.
Menser. Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay, this is the portion of the meeting that we welcome the public, both in person and on Zoom, to participate and address the commission. At this time, we ask that you give us your full name, your residential address, and you approach the microphone and abide by our 3-minute rule. If there's anyone in person, we'll go with in person first, who would like to address the commission. We welcome anyone to the microphone.
Good evening. My name is Jean Dixon, and I live at 114 Middle Street. I just always want to come and share with the commission as we go through the year how great a job you guys are doing, how good things are uptown Mount Clemens, all the little activities. I'm finally able to participate because I'm retired. So I enjoy all the little things you have for us. I also enjoy that we have Carnes, and I did want to speak on that. They have some programs over there. I've been to a sewing class. We have dance class that the old and young alumni put on. And we're enjoying that as seniors. It's just not for the kids, so seniors need attention also. And then I'm going to also be inspired to start a crocheting class. So I'll start that on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. So I just wanted to say I'm happy and I'm excited about cards. And Tommy and Carl are doing a wonderful job. And I want the city commission to support them as much as they can. Find some money in the budget to help upkeep the building for them and for us as a community, because we are excited about it. And I've lived in Mount Clemens all my life, and as a kid, we had things to do growing up. And I feel like our kids need those things, and they're very good mentors. Thank you very much.
Mickey Weiss, Mount Clemens Downtown Development Authority, 1 Crocker, and my home address, 18200 Terra Drive, Clinton Township. I just want to invite everyone to come this week on Thursday to our 16th annual Fire and Ice Chili Cook-Off. We brought it back this year. We have 10 different restaurants and bars that will be participating. Abibo, Bassett Bistro, Gumbo's, Little Lorraine's, Madison's Pub, O'Halloran's Public House, Orleans Sports Cafe, the Rec Bowl, 3 Blind Mice, and Your Mother's. It will be supporting 2 really great organizations, our Anton Art Center and the Good Fellows. It starts at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are available at any of the 10 establishments that I just mentioned, and you will get your scorecards, your chili cook-off beads, and you can start randomly at any of the businesses, and you need to have at least 6 scores on your card for us to count them, and then we will crown the 2022 best chili in the city of Mount Clemens. We are having our 17th annual ice carving show on starting on Friday. We'll have live demonstrations going on from noon to 6 on Friday, Saturday noon to 4, and Sunday 10 to 3. The Indoor Kids Warming Center will be at the Discovery Center of Macomb, where they will have a movie. They'll have arts, crafts, popcorn, And the Mount Clemens Lions Club will be doing free vision screening on Saturday from noon to 3. And I want to make sure that everybody comes. I'm very proud to say this will be our largest show we've ever done. We have up to 80 blocks of ice and 58 ice sculptures, many of them being multiple blocks. So please come down, enjoy cornhole. We had them make a cornhole 2 games for us. Those will be by the apple of my eye, so you can stop and play a game of cornhole on your way passing through to see the ice sculptures. So please come and enjoy your downtown. We have a lot of new businesses, and you'll be able to go into Black Cat Coffee as a sipping center, as well as Clementine's, as well as Pop Sweets and Treats, and the Nest. The other businesses will be warming centers where you're welcome to go in to keep warm. Thank you.
Michelle, really quickly, just a question for you.
Sure.
When you say that tickets are available for the chili cook-off,
Yes.
should people buy them ahead of time, or should
You
people?
can buy them ahead of time. They've been in the bars for the last couple weeks, and it's $15 a person, and a couple can come for $25.
But they don't have to buy them ahead of time, right?
No, they'll be at the door as well.
Okay, thank you.
One more question.
Oh.
The social district. is
That
still-
will be open as well.
Okay.
And the 2 establishments that you would be able to have a cocktail and walk through the district would be 104 Wine Boutique, as well as Abibo's.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Ruthie Stevenson, 69 Bain Street. My concern is Carnes Community Center. Having been an integral part of this city since 1964 and coming to this city prior to, I remember when the old recreation center was on North River Road. Yeah. And then, you see it and things change because it became more urban in that area with move to Groesbeck. That process impacted the community on how they interacted in the community, as far as the recreations and stuff like that. They started moving more toward the schools and things like that, and different private organizations and doing things within churches. Not to say they didn't go out there, but it wasn't relative for them to go. And as time moved on, the NAACP, Loretta Brownlee, Eric Jackson, and others, we came together to get with Congressman Bonnier to get money to build on that land, Carnes Community Center. It took a while, and then we, worked with it. That program lasted good years when the gentleman that was running it, there were all kinds of programs with the county, with the city, and with the other organizations coming in and running different programs. And every aspect of the community was covered. And then when the city decided to turn it over to the schools, and the schools decided to turn it over to whatever, and I may be wrong in how I'm versing this, but through the years, there was some differences concerning Carnes with the administration between the schools and their boards and stuff. So now, it's back to the city. Who is supporting the upkeep and how is the city supporting the upkeep of this building for the community? Sure, Mr. Barnes and Carl and other people can work in this building, but that building has to be kept up. Who's supporting that building with the lighting, all these other things that go along with it? I know Boys and Girls Club was coming in there, but it's feasible for them to be in the high school. It was feasible for them to be in the high school because the kids and stuff are already there, middle school and other kids, after school programs and stuff. So it was feasible for them to be there. So that leaves the community. Who's supporting? How is the city supporting Carnes Community Center? That's what I'd like to know.
Thank you.
guess since everybody said my name, I have to get up and speak my own piece here. Thomas Barnes, 291 Jones Street, Mount Clemens. I'm the biggest advocate for Currents Community Center, and I have been since day one. Everybody knows that. I make no shame or no secret about it. But I would like to remind this commission of decisions that were made by this commission. I sat with the majority of you in 2020 at the Grossbeck Community Center when we did the first strategic planning under this new commission. During that strategic planning session, you deemed, not me, not the community, this commission deemed that two of the most important things for this new commission and the new direction of this city was inclusiveness and recreation. It was not me that spoke to it, it was you. So I have worked to build upon what it is that you said was important for us. During the time at the Currents Community Center, we have partnered with several historic agencies in the city of Mount Clemens. On Monday, there's programming offered by the Mount Clemens Public Library for our pre-K kids in the city of Mount Clemens. Mount Clemens Public Library has also shown interest in offering programming for our senior community. The Anton Art Center wants to partner to offer free art classes for both our senior community and for our children. The YMCA, through our Sportport partnership, which everyone sitting behind this desk and everyone in the crowd should be proud of, out of 15 communities that were chosen for this $1.8 million project by the Ralph C. Wilson Foundation, Mount Clemens has yet been the shining star for Sportport from the beginning to the end. We have consistently been the highest producing site in the state of Michigan. They have used the projects that we have put forth in the city of Mount Clemens they have mirrored them in Western New York also, because of how successful things were here in Mount Clemens. We use that to build off of. On Mondays, through the Sportport partnership, one of the 8 plays for Project Play was they wanted kids to be able to choose what they wanted to do and have a chance to play freely. So on Monday at the Currents Community Center for 3 hours, kids are offered the ability to just play. Come together, hang out, no matter what neighborhood you come from or where your parents work at, everybody comes together and play. On Tuesdays, we have Sportport, which is led by members of the Macomb Family YMCA who come in and put on recreational activities for the kids from 5 until 6:30. On Wednesdays, we have a basketball trainer that comes in, and a local basketball trainer, former Clintondale basketball coach, who comes in and gives free basketball lessons to kids for 2 hours on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we partnered with LK St. Clair and Mount Clemens Community Schools to be offering free drop-in futsal, which is indoor soccer for children that's played on the court instead of on the field. Recreation was your baby, not mine. I'm just trying to help it grow up.
Is there anyone? Oh.
Good evening, Teresa McGarity, 19 Inches Street. I have a lot of ideas for the concern and questions regarding Currents Center, so I'll share a few with you since I have to address you as commissioners. You have to, if you want to lead, you can't ask what you won't do. So I charge you as commissioners to consider this. Think, if you have 6 people, think of one idea to raise funds for Currents Center to stay open. You've already heard and you already know the need for it in the poorest area in the city that you stand for. You have 2 senior high-rises, 1 in Clinton Township, and a host of low-income housing within walking distance to Currents Center. As you heard, there are activities for small to senior citizens almost every day of the week. And there's going to be more because Macomb County was looking to come in to offer services for the community. Now, you could live wherever to go to Currents Center, but it's a good idea, and I think you know, to have small children up to seniors that are in low poverty, no transportation, to be able to go play sports, but also take care of business, get their taxes done, apply for benefits for the state, and so forth and so on, to improve what you sit on, which is the city of Mount Clemens. We look for you to come together to make good decisions for the city. So maybe each one of you can come up with an idea that you're asking us to think of a fundraiser. Or if there's 6 people, volunteer 1 month out of the year. So that's 6. And if you can't gather people together that you know from your church, from the bars you go to, if we can raise money from a chili cookout, I know we can raise money to help our community and giving them benefits besides sports, educating them so that our city will be much better. So I charge you as commissioners to first lead by example. Volunteer or get some volunteers that you know to help so you can say you did try. Think first before you say, no, we can't afford it, or to think of something negative. Put a positive in it and let your name be behind that positive. That's what I'm counting on, because I'm going to be one of those people. I already have some ideas of who I can volunteer in, and I'll be one of them. And if you need my help, let me know. But I'm not going to say no without leading by example. It means a lot. Carn Center means a lot to the city that you serve. Not just Seminole Hills, not just the other side of Gratiot. This is our city. Right. We have to come together. You got a building that's ready. They want to see your face. They don't want to wait till voting time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Carl Hay, 21 2nd Street. Hope everybody's been having a good new year. I would like to speak to what my sister was saying. Yeah, we could do fundraising, but we could also use our memory and realize that allocated funds of $100,000 have already been allocated for recreation in the city of Mount Clemens. And since the Boys and Girls Club is no longer going to be in there, that's $100,000 that's sitting freed up that could be used for recreation.
That's not a ton.
It looks like it won't be in there. I apologize if I'm speaking out of turn. They're pivoting towards the school. So if that does happen, there's no reason for the city to be giving funds to them. I like what the library is coming in and doing because I have a 2-year-old and I spend my early mornings with my daughter over at Carn Center with Ms. Joyce reading to her. I think that's an amazing program. I have watched the ladies that come into the sewing class, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see all the way from young 2-year-olds up to our elderly population or our seniors that come in there. As far as who comes into the morning classes for the library, it's actually a very diverse group. So it shows that people of the community of all different economic backgrounds, because there's some nice cars that pull in there, will come over to the Carn Center. So I believe it's a community center in the fullest if we, one, appropriate funds for it. It'd be great to fundraise, but it'd be even better to appropriate funds for it and to realize that all of our citizens will come over to that building if there's programming that benefits them, whether it's for the children to learn something, for the children to have recreation, for the seniors to learn a new skill or trait like sewing, dancing. I think it's very vital to our community. I moved here about 4 years ago, and besides my church, one of the first places I started volunteering was the Carn Center when it was under a different name. I spent my Friday nights in there helping out, just pretty much watching kids, talking to kids, which pivoted me into being a mentor to a lot of them, and some of them even living in my house because of the circumstances they were under. I think it's a great resource to our community, and I think it should be built upon. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in person who would like to address the commission? Okay, we'll go to Zoom. Okay, we've got one.
Good evening, Eric Rick, 1689 Hampton Road, Mount Clemens, Michigan. Just really quick on the topic of the Carn Center, there doesn't seem to be much, if any, online presence. I just did a Google search of Mount Clemens Carn Center Mount Clemens Caring Center volunteer, Mount Clemens Caring Center donation. I got nothing. Some of us can't actually make it out there for, whatever reason, whether it be medical or other. But if we wanted to help, there's no easy way for those of us that are a little less mobile to actually find out how, when, or where. So that might be a kind of a low-hanging fruit on getting some support for those of us that are, from those of us that are kind of stuck at home more often than not. That's all. I good luck, and hopefully I'll be able to help out here soon.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom who would like to speak to the commission? Okay, thank you, Darren. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 7, administrative responses to issues or questions raised during previous meetings. It looks like there's none, so we'll go to 8, approval of minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the regular city commission meeting minutes for January 18th, 2022.
Do we have a support?
Support.
Roll call, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menzer. Yes. Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
All right, general business 9A, the local treasure awards. It looks to me like we don't have either one of them in attendance.
Were they invited?
No, it isn't the presentation, is it?
I'm sorry. They were invited. I'm looking to you. I mean, that's what I was told this afternoon, is they were invited, but.
Mayor Crop, is this the presentation to them? Or
It
is this the
is.
vote? I understood this was a vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
I don't know.
Were there the only two?
right,
Yeah,
it
there
is
were
the
only
vote,
two.
but I thought it was both,
But
because they were
normally
both
we put them
invited.
under
so-
presentations, that's why I was wondering.
It was both, but they were both invited, so, well, let's go ahead and I'll entertain a motion. Our assistant?
Well, let's appoint them first.
Okay, well,
I move to award Vito Strolis and Ross Champion the 2022 City of Mount Clemens Local Treasure Awards.
support. Do we have any questions or comments at this time for both of these nominations? And that being said, I think we'll go ahead and hold on to an actual presentation, and we'll reach out to them again, because since it's unclear. But yes, Mr.
I was just gonna say, are they gonna come back at the next meeting?
I think we will,
Okay.
since neither one of them are here. But let's, would anyone else like to comment? I know Commissioner Menzer, do you have a?
I have been involved in many things with Vito Strolis. He has been, a treasure in this city. He's been very good with the Optimist Club. Anything the city does, whether it's the bike parade at the 4th of July, in Seminole Hills, or the Christmas parade, or, the Santa thing.
Grand Prix.
Vito has always been here. He has always been here. And he's never said, wait, why? He just simply shows up and gives of his time, gives of his money, and gives his good advice and shares his heart. So I think both of these men have given selflessly to the city in many ways. Ross Champion, he's on the historical committee. He's at at the board of the Crocker House, right?
Yes, President.
And he's been in every parade that I think the city has done for probably 20 years, 25 years. So I think that it's really great that we can give them both this award today, because Vito is a business that, is well known. Everybody knows where Woolies is. And Ross, as a resident, has been, just a gem. So I think this is a good thing to honor him.
Is there anyone else who'd like to add?
I think we could all tell stories and make positive comments we'd be here all night, because they're both very, very, very deserving of this award.
I think when we received nominations, they both had quite a list of, quite the resume that we would fall under a treasurer of a city. So it's a pleasure to be able to acknowledge this. So we'll go ahead and, is there anyone else who would like to mention anything? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and call the vote, please.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
And we will reach out to both gentlemen and present those awards to them soon. Okay, moving on to 9B, the SMART contract. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the 2022 Specialized Services Operating Assistance Program third-party contract between Suburban Mobility Authority for Regional Transportation, or SMART, and the City of Mount Clemens as presented, and to authorize the execution of the contract by the appropriate city officials.
Support.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you. Mr. Wood, would you present this, please?
Attached is the fiscal year 2022 Specialized Services Operating Contract between SMART and the City of Mount Clemens. This contract is identical to the 2021 contract and has been reviewed by the City Attorney's Office. It also outlines the obligation of funds from MDOT through SMART to provide public transportation services to persons with disabilities and senior citizens.
Does anybody have any questions or comments for Mr. Wood?
No, I went back and looked, and I was really surprised that the funding stayed the same. The funding is exactly the same as what we got last year, and I had really expected a difference. So it's a good thing.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Okay, we will move on to general item 9C, the MDOT contract. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to adopt the resolution and approve the contract between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the City of Mount Clemens for the pavement resurfacing of North River Road, MDOT contract number 21-5473, as presented, and to authorize the city manager and the public services director to sign and enter into the agreement.
I'll second it.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes, again, Mr. Wood, would you please present this?
So before you is the Surface Transportation Program contract along with the municipal resolution for the pavement resurfacing of North River Road from northbound Gratiot to the city limits. This is a contractual document between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the City of Mount Clemens, which outlines the performance of the project and the project costs. The total cost for the repair is estimated at $2.1 million. Federal Surface Transportation Funds shall be applied to 81.85% of the project cost, and the remaining balance of $382,969 will be funded by the city's major streets funds. This contract has also been reviewed by the city attorney. The attached resolution is necessary in order to specifically name the officials who are authorized to sign the contract.
Okay, does anyone have questions or comments? Commissioner Menser?
In the ARPA money, I believe we have a line there for North River Road water main. And what I'm wondering is that, we did have at one point. When we do the repaving of this, are we going to be able to do some of the infrastructure work, we're going to be able to repair that water main?
The idea is to get that sewer and water, there are sewer and water repairs there that are needed prior to this pavement project.
Okay. All right, so it'll all be kind of one big project?
Kind of, yes.
Kind of.
Kind of. The water and sewer project is going to start first. MDOT bids this project. This project is run through MDOT, so it has, I think, bids were opened on Friday. I'm not sure about the award yet, and so therefore start dates and all that has not yet been determined exactly.
Okay.
We'll just base the water work once we figure that out, is
Well,
what you're
that's-
saying?
That's already scheduled.
Oh, it is,
so,
okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
hopefully that, yeah, that's we're shooting to get that water and sewer work done prior to the end of March, so hopefully this can begin in April.
And that work has been budgeted within the water fund.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing none, roll call, please.
Menzer.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes. Okay, 9D, use of the ARPA funds. And I do not believe there's a recommended motion, correct?
Here it is.
So this is just a discussion.
Uh,
Is there a motion?
There's a motion.
Is it way, oh, way down there, sorry. Okay.
And
Then I'll accept a,
there's actually two
There's
motions.
two.
oh, okay.
In order to speed things up, I'm not going to go through the entire report. There's a lot of history on what ARPA is all about. Things that are very significant to us are how the money is being divided. In this case, for cities, there's $65 billion that's being divided between jurisdictions that are community development block grant entitlement jurisdictions and those that are not, and 45.5 billion of the 65 is going to those metropolitan cities that are entitlement communities. We are not an entitlement community. So our is a share of the rest of it that's being distributed based on a per capita formula. Eligible uses of these funds can be used for revenue replacement for the provision of government services to the extent of the reduction in revenue due to the COVID-19 public health emergency. We had originally planned on using that to repay the automobile parking system fund, because that's the fund that was really hurt here by COVID. But it's been ruled that the revenue replacement calculation has to be done on an entity-wide basis, not a fund-by-fund basis. And when we do the calculation based on the entire entity, we do not qualify. So we're not going to be able to use it for that purpose, and because of that, we're going to have to make a separate budget adjustment to put some money into the automobile parking system fund. It can be used for COVID-19 expenditures or for expenditures relative to the negative economic impact of COVID-19, including assistance to small businesses, households, hard-hit industries, and economic recovery. It can be used for premium pay for essential workers. It can be used in investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. Those are the only specific capital expenditures eligible for ARPA funding. The capital expenditures that fit one of the other categories are eligible. We had originally thought the roads would not be eligible. They are not. One of the important things is that the funding must be spent by the end of calendar year 2024, and that impacted one of our recommendations. We were originally scheduled to receive $1,691,758 in two payments. The first payment was already received on October 19th, 2021. We got an unexpected payment last week, or actually now it's the week before last, of $3,404, which brings the new total to $1,695,162. And that represents a distribution of funds that were originally, a redistribution of funds that were originally allocated to other local units who opted out of the program. We should get the final payment by October of 2022. We had originally planned to use a significant portion of our ARPA money for revenue replacement in the automobile parking system, as I just described. That's not going to be eligible, so we have reallocated it, with most of it going to water and sewer uses. However, we do want to designate a portion for a project designed to aid small businesses and promote economic recovery. Specifically, we'd like to designate, came out to $334,162. And the reason it came to that exact number is because this is what we use to make everything else balance. We wanted it to be at least 300. But we'd like to designate that amount towards improvements on the Cherry Street Mall. And we've provided you with an architect's preliminary rendering of what those might look like. The DDA did commission an architect to design improvements for Cherry Street Mall, which will make it a much more attractive environment for shoppers, thus increasing traffic and sales and benefiting small businesses and assisting with economic recovery. Also, it will solve drainage problems, which are negatively impacting adjacent businesses right now. The total cost estimates for this project are $970,656 for Phase 1, which includes the existing mall area, and $703,908 for Phase 2, which extends the mall between New Street and Market Street. Obviously, additional funding will be required, even just for Phase 1. The DDA will be asked to make a contribution of $200,000, and we will seek grants and other funding for the rest. If efforts to find additional funding for this project are not successful by March of 2023, we will ask the Commission to redesignate the $334,162 for another eligible project. And that will probably be to make a contribution towards the water service line replacements that are going to be required under the lead and copper rules. The reason we didn't do that entire project here is we don't think we can have it finished by the date this project has to be completed. So the projects that we are proposing is, besides the Cherry Street Mall contribution, Alter Court water main replacement. It's a $700,000 project. We're deducting $150,000 that we're asking for as part of the CDBG recommendation. West Brittmeyer and Robertson Court water main replacement, it's a $487,000 project. And catch basin cleaning, which is a $324,000 project. Again, all projects funded with ARPA money must be complete by the end of 2024. That's why we deliberately chose not to include the identification and replacement of lead service lines, even though this would otherwise be an ideal ARPA project. We think the project will take much longer than that. But again, we'll be able to get started. My screen just jumped on me. I'm pretty much done anyway.
Okay, so at this point, there are two recommended motions. We probably should, let's look at the first issue, which is the projects and the ARPA funding itself before we talk about the budget adjustment. So I'll entertain a motion, and then we can discuss.
I move the City of Mount Clemens submit the following projects and amounts for ARPA funding. Cherry Street Mall project contribution, $334,162. Alter Court water main replacement, $550,000. West Brightmeyer and Robertson Court water main replacement, $487,000. And catch basin cleaning, $324,000, for a total of $1,895,100.
600 million.
600, sorry.
600,000.
I don't have my computer glasses on.
Oh.
$1,695,162.
Support. Okay, now we can discuss. Commissioner Mentor.
All right, I'm going to start in on, let's talk about water main breaks. In the last month and a half, we have had 15 115 in our residential areas. Northbound Gratiot, Hubbard at Madison, Kingsley, Cass at Logan, Lois Lane, South Highland and Robertson, Gallup, North Wilson and Lafayette, Bain Street, Kingsley again, West Brightmeyer. Saturday, we had Warrington and Maras, and just today, Elwood and Groesbeck. I have this list that we were given on 11/15/21 when we first started talking about the ARPA money. There are things in this that I think are critical for our residents, because let's keep in mind that it is the residents and their tax dollars that sustain the downtown. It is not the downtown that sustains the neighborhood, the residents in the neighborhoods. So there's some things in here that we're not looking at. Replace water main on Alter from North Rose to Dead End. Replace water main on Riverview. Replace 4-inch main in the distribution center. Replace 8-inch water main in the distribution center. Replace water main on Chippewa. Replace water main in Hampton. There are a long list of things that we need in our residential areas. Here's a fun one. Replace critical fire hydrants. It's a multi-year term total. Critical fire hydrants. These are things that are needed in the residential areas. There is an entire list of the water and sewer things that we need. Install a generator, 250. Backup filter backwash system, 340. High service pump and motor, 150. The low lift pump and motor, 150. Gate valves, 200,000. I want to see the money spent in our neighborhoods on our tax-paying residents. Yes, businesses pay tax too. I get that. But the number one most important thing that we provide for our residents and our businesses is clean, safe water. And we haven't been doing a very good job of that based on this list of water main breaks over the last month and a half. This is not the fault of the water and sewer. This is not the fault of our utilities. This is an aging system that is just catching up to us. And if we have $1.6 million to spend here, I want to see it spent where it's going to make the biggest impact for our residents. And that is not, I'm sorry, but it is not the Cherry Street Mall in my book.
Commissioner Fournier, go ahead.
Mr. Johnson, could you just tell us, kind of give your rationale for why this Cherry Street Mall project was included here versus some more of the water and sewer issues that we're facing?
The guidelines for the use of ARPA funds do include aid to businesses and economic recovery. We decided to include a relatively small portion of the ARPA funds to that particular use.
So the one thing about the Cherry Street Mall, I mean, if it was just cosmetic, I would be totally against it. But I know that there's a serious issue over there with the water.
Yes.
I have known businesses that were in the inside court of that mall, and it isn't pretty when it rains. So
right now, we drain all the water to the sides, to the businesses.
So that this project will fix that? So it's not just aesthetics or new landscaping?
No, it's more than just aesthetics. I mean, there is some important, and it is sewer, storm sewer, but the aesthetics are also important.
Oh, they're wonderful. We have so much to fix. The catch basin cleaning, didn't we do that a few years back? No? It's been a while? Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Sure.
Mayor, this Cherry Street Mall, I know, I haven't been on the commission this long, so I don't know, was this ever discussed at all with the commission? because they have this, you know, I mean, have you guys talked about it at all
It was
before?
just,
Other than-
it was just completed by the landscape architects. It hasn't even been presented
Oh,
to
this
the
was
DDA
the
yet
DDA,
because,
oh.
because it was just completed in the last 3 weeks.
Okay,
So it wasn't,
Because I'm looking at this, it looks
and partly-
nice.
Yeah, it's
And-
beautiful. And partly it was because, you know, AEW had been called out to address the, you know.
And I agree with the
Yeah.
infrastructure
Mhm.
issues. I'm not so sure, and I don't know how much money is being spent on, you know, the aesthetics versus the infrastructure. And I would rather see more of the infrastructure being done down there than, and it's got to look nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm hoping this is like the first draft or something, or that we can look at it. I think it's great that we're putting money in to rectify some of the issues down there, but personally, I'm not real
Well,
thrilled with this.
330,000 wouldn't get us aesthetics anyway.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
330 won't get us aesthetics anyway. It'll get us
Well,
drainage.
that's
Right.
just what I wanted to point
Yeah,
out, because I don't
right.
think it will. The other projects, I think, I do not work in the water department, nor do I have any kind of degree in the water department. In the sewer department, I rely on the administration to pick out which is the most crucial that needs to be done. So as far as I'm concerned, that's what administration did, and I don't have the credentials to question that. I just have to rely on administration to pick out the projects that are the most necessary.
I know we did talk about the drainage there at the Cherry Street Mall when we were talking about the water, the list of.
Okay.
And ARPA was also designated by the federal government because of a recovery for, you know, businesses as well. And so that was something that, you know, we look at. Our business community has been impacted significantly by the pandemic, and so that I believe by not doing anything, I think that's counterintuitive of those funds.
Is Mr. Bertrand on the line? Lenny?
Yes.
Mr. Bertrand, if we were to forego the $334,000 for the Cherry Street Mall, do you have critical projects that you could use that money on?
Yeah, we have lots of projects throughout the city, and the water plant, the sewer plant, they're all over.
Any that you consider critical that aren't covered by, that aren't already in this ARPA thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few that could be considered critical. I guess it just depends on where you want to put the money.
And when you say critical, does this mean for the health and welfare and safety of our residents?
Yep.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
One more
What are we gonna do? I mean, are we gonna, do you wanna take this out? Like, what exactly do you wanna do with, like, is this Cherry Street Mall, is the drainage critical to the businesses there? So if we take the money out of that, and then they don't have any, like,
No, they'll still have clean, clear, drinkable water. They'll just have water in their basement.
They also
that's
have
all
water
the
in their
business where the
stores.
basement's full of
in their
water.
basement, and and some of them in their stores. I mean,
Now, I know one business that moved out of there because of this issue. And so, again, I know that there is an issue.
We're not denying if there's an issue or not, it's like what we're going to put the money to. What's the
Right.
most critical
Yes.
thing to place the money?
exactly.
And that's what
I'm
we
kind
have to decide.
With Commissioner Dempsey, if administration feels that these are the most critical, I'm sure it wasn't an easy list to put together. And if we do another water main replacement, we need more money than, it looks like, than $334,000.
And we can't do the lead pipes because it extends beyond
We have another
2024,
round.
correct?
We could put
could
it
do some.
towards that project. We won't finish that project, but we can certainly spend 334,000 before the deadline.
But it's also been said that the lead pipe replacement project could very well have some money coming down from the state as well to fund that project, is what a lot of people are believing.
This recommendation puts 80% of the money into water and sewer projects. Now, there are also funds available in the water and sewer fund for doing other projects with, too.
Commissioner Campbell?
All these water main breaks that are happening, is there money that's set aside to fix them right now?
In the water fund.
Our normal budget, I mean, we're seeing water main breaks this time of year when you get this kind of weather conditions are very normal.
So there is money that's already been set aside for these breaks that are happening?
Well, there's money that's budgeted for it, yes.
I don't think we've ever had this many water breaks in this short of a time. Mr.
Commissioner,
Bertrand, can you verify that?
excuse me, Commissioner Voorhees.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All the water mains on Alter Court and West Brightmeyer and Robertson, do they also include repaving of those streets? I'm assuming they would do that. Both West Brightmeyer and Robertson, I believe our city attorney lives on one of those streets. They're pretty rough. They're
Where they've done the patches, yes, very rough, at
All right.
Robertson.
As long as
It doesn't include it, is what I was just told.
Yeah, he said
It
no.
does not include.
Does not include. It includes just the infrastructure underneath. Doesn't include your
Lenny, did
street.
that include the street work?
So that road would be all new, and then Alter Court would also be all new road.
Oh, it does. No.
Yeah.
For
All right, Lenny, clarify that. So Alter Court, West Brightmeyer, and Robertson Court will all be repaved, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Not for, yeah.
Jeff's
I
not
was gonna say,
agreeing with you, Lenny.
Not for that amount
Oh.
of money, I wouldn't
For
think.
900 and almost $1 million? No?
They're pretty wide streets.
Yeah.
The proposals I had from AEW, it was included on there.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
You know, I can't, until that's clarified, I would hold my vote back.
That's a good point, though. I think we do need clarification on that.
Absolutely.
Does somebody
Yeah,
want to
the
alter
AEW.
change their motion to
So-
table?
Okay, I can.
Wait a minute, here it is, it's right here in the packet.
Yeah.
He has included Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick. It says, understanding the project, it is our understanding that the city will split half the paving cost for West Brightmeyer between the Water and Local Streets Fund. The full cost of the water main replacement under West Brightmeyer will be incurred by the water fund. The full cost of the Robertson Court water main and pavement replacement will be incurred by the water fund. Estimated costs are below. West Brightmeyer Local Streets estimated cost $80,000. West Brightmeyer Water Department estimated cost $200,000. Robertson Court Water Department estimated cost $150,000. Total construction estimated cost $430,000. Water Department apportionment 81.4%. Local streets 18.6%.
So they're both right.
So it's
Is it in there or not?
Total estimated
When-
cost
About
of
as
water
clear as mud.
fund,
When we submitted this for the ARPA
$396,418.
package, we just didn't change it and remove the local streets part, but it was included in the AEW estimate
Yeah.
that we used ARPA funds.
It looked like it was included.
So
It wasn't changed to say that local streets wasn't gonna pay for it, but it was included.
Yeah, it says local streets, $90,582.
But that is included in this total, is what you're saying, Lenny?
Yeah, it is included in the ARPA fund total.
Okay, so Commissioner Voorhees, does that clarify it for you? So it does include paving.
All right.
Okay. Now that we have that, we don't need to amend our motion. So are there any further questions or comments with this? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menzer,
No.
Okay, we'll move on to General 9E, CDBG applications.
Wait, what about the second motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I would like to make a motion that we table the 2021-22 City of Mount Clemens budget to provide a transfer until we have the budget discussion. I think the budget discussion would be a more appropriate place for this.
It's referring to the current budget.
21-22 City of Mount Clemens budget.
Is our current
It's the
budget.
current.
Yeah.
It's an
We'll be
adjustment to our
talking
current
about
budget.
22,
If
23.
you did the budget session, we're talking 22, 23 budget.
Okay.
Did you want to continue that motion or no?
No.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for the budget adjustment.
Sorry.
I'll entertain a motion.
Well,
Is everyone trying to get to the motion? Because
Yeah,
I'm
everybody's trying to
wondering if
look
I
for
should
it
say this
because
is
there
dying
wasn't-
enough.
I thought we were all
Okay.
done.
there wasn't a separate motion, it was all in one.
Here it is.
No, it's at the bottom. There's two motions.
I move to adjust the 2021-22 City of Mount Clemens budget to provide a transfer from the general fund to the automobile, whoa, it's not right though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
To
right.
the automobile parking system fund
Mhm.
of $410,308.15, which is needed because we will not qualify to use ARPA funds for revenue replacement. I see, it's the other part of this.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay. Do we have questions or comments on this one?
I don't think so.
Everyone's clear on what we're voting for and why we are? Okay. Call the roll, please.
Campbell,
Yes.
Dempsey,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menzer,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Okay, now we will move on to our CDBG applications, Agenda 9E. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the recommended allocation and application for 2022 Community Development Block Grant Funds.
Support.
Okay. Do we have questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
So it's, if I recall correctly, we can get up to 2 projects, each with a maximum of $150,000?
Correct.
So we couldn't come up with a project, because we have Carnes, which is great, but couldn't Carnes, isn't there $50,000 worth of something that we need there that we could make, instead of 100 for Carnes, do 150?
Yeah, but it would change how we have to bid it. We'd have to bid it through a general contractor rather than bidding it through HVAC contractors. Because the rules on the program are, we're only going to be able to actually have the payments go to one contractor.
Ay, ay, ay. So we have to, there's no way to pick up that other $50,000.
If we used a general contractor instead of using, bidding it through HVAC contractors, we could get a general to come in who would then sub-bid or get quotes for the HVAC work and apply a commission to that.
It just
And
costs
then
more.
maybe do some painting or some other work in the building as well, and they do the same thing with that. We decided that, for simplicity's sake, that this was the easiest, cleanest way to do it.
Mayor Crop? Question?
Yes.
The, how old is the HVAC system over there? And is it, how, is
It's
the
original to the building.
original to the building, and it's not functioning?
Oh, it's functioning. It's
It is?
It's functioning.
Did you
It's
ever
just
get
that
the
it's
new
very old.
HVAC system here?
No. this wouldn't be eligible.
It wouldn't be?
No.
Okay. Why, can I ask you why?
Because this has to be done in a block, in a CDBG eligible
Okay,
census
so,
tract.
but that is, even though it's a property of the city?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's in an eligible district, and it's in a facility that's serving the target population.
Okay. Did not know that. I mean, I didn't know that was a stipulation for the block grant.
The only types of projects that we can do anywhere are handicap accessibility projects.
Through the CBDG funds?
Yeah. We can do those anywhere in the city.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Campbell, was that a, did you, oh, I thought it was a, you needed
No,
something.
I was just itching right here.
Oh, okay, okay. Just checking.
Okay, so I just have to say it. So if we go through a general contractor, obviously the cost of doing the HVAC replacement will go up because there'll be,
Subcontracting?
yeah. So, but how much, do you have any idea would be left over to be able to do additional projects at Carnes? I mean, even, would we have 30,000 left that we could, I mean, that's a lot of paint.
I would expect if we went through a general contractor that it would get marked up probably at least 10 to 15% over if we bid it directly. So let's say that became 115 for that part of it. And then also we thought that, you know, by asking for 150 and 100 that we might have a better chance of getting them than if we asked for 150 and 150.
So it's not guaranteed?
Nothing's guaranteed. Although Brian feels very confident that we're going to get at least one of the projects approved.
Okay.
If you recall, we didn't do one last year.
Commissioner Menzer.
So I'm not happy with the cuts to Care House and Turning Point. We have these things here, these sheriff department statistics, and we have them for October, November, and December. The #1 crime in our city is domestic violence. When you look at October, there were 15 cases of domestic violence. In November, there were 12. In December, there were 19. That makes 46 cases of domestic violence in 90 days. That's a battered woman or battered, gentleman every other day. When you look at the cases of child abuse, there are 7 cases of child abuse in that time frame. That's 1 every 12 days. And I look at this and I say, I would rather help protect our women and children and the occasional, battered gentleman with full funding to those 2 funds. That makes a difference to our residents. It makes a difference to people who need help. And so I'm not in favor of the way that this is written. We have to do better at domestic violence, and the way we're going to help do that is through Turning Point and Care House.
If I'm reading this right down, where the description for Turning Point, what they're asking for is 5,000, but then when you go down to project description or previous note of concern, when they service the city of Mount Clemens, they're only using, what's it, 1,400? So is that why the number might have been decreased based on that?
And it said services 7 people.
Yeah, some people.
So I think they're trying to adjust it to how many they're actually servicing in the city of Mount Clemens of what they're asking for.
And I know that McRest and, I hate to exclude McRest and Interfaith, because Interfaith, I know it's a little amount, but they do help our seniors and those homeowners that can't get out. And Advancing Macomb, it's for a specific purpose, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, breaking barriers.
Why would that be for a specific purpose? I'm lost.
Well, remember the program that they presented at the last meeting, the Breaking Barriers program?
Right, but I mean,
Recreation.
all of them are for a specific
Oh, right.
purpose. I'm
Yes.
just wondering.
It's not general fund, I guess, for advancing Macomb.
No. Oh, yeah, no, it's a program that will service, they said 35 participants of Mount Clemens residents.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just to general fund advancing Macomb. I guess that was the point, yeah. Anyone else?
I also have a question about Carnes. Contrary to the gentleman online, there have been a lot of posts on several Mount Clemens Facebook pages about the activities at Carnes. I think the activities at Carnes have been, very good for the community, and some of them are very diverse in the offerings. But we have had no update at this commission about the Boys and Girls Club and what they're doing. We have had no special permit applications. Usually when there's city property and an event wants to be take place, we get a special permit, and they provide insurance, a certificate of liability insurance. So I'd like to know, where are we at with the Boys and Girls Club? Have any of the groups that are using the Carnes Center provided a certificate of insurance? Because that's going to be important at some point. And I would like to know who has access to that building, who's controlling that building. Are we giving keys to residents to bring the groups in and out? Is that overseen by a city staff member? We absolutely are sitting here with very little information about how Carnes Center is being run.
Mr. Johnson, do you want to address some of that?
We have certificates of insurance, I think, for every activity that's going on there, including the library, which was provided most recently. We have certificates of insurance from the Boys and Girls Club, from TCBY, from Advancing Macomb. I think every activity that we've had has been under the auspices of one of those organizations. There have been other partners involved in some of those programs, but one of those organizations has been the lead in all of them. The status is we are still in discussions with the Boys and Girls Clubs. We have a meeting coming up very shortly with the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, and other potential program partners for that site, including Advancing Macomb, TCBY, and the library. There are so many different people involved in this, each with their own agenda. It's still my agenda to get the Boys and Girls Club at Carnes and running Carnes. Whether they also go to the school is another issue. What's being talked about in regards to the schools actually makes a lot of sense from the perspective of what would best serve the Mount Clemens community, as opposed to what best serves the city of Mount Clemens. It's obviously in the city's best interest to get them in there to run that facility for us. But there's a lot to be said for the argument about putting them in the school instead.
So are you meeting with them?
I am.
When will that be?
What was the date on that one? Oh, I don't remember, to tell you the truth. There's been
thought-
a lot of dates.
It's either this week or next.
It's very soon.
How involved have they currently been with Carnes, like with activities and?
They have, Boys and Girls Club,
Yes.
they have been not very involved in terms of, because they have been seeking funding to try to bring in their programming. So, and, they want to, so we've been very involved in negotiating what that's happening, but Yeah, so that's where we're still at that point.
I believe the only actual activity that they've done there, youth activity, has been the Pistons basketball camp. And that was several months ago.
The pop-up, yeah.
So the current events that's being sponsored there or programmed there are through TCBY? Or
TCB and Sportport,
The library.
the library, right,
So a group of community partners?
Right.
That's keeping it?
yes, at this point. And all under they all have provided liability insurance at this point.
And then she mentioned about keys, having access to the building.
Yes. We had the locks changed not too long ago. The only outside organization that has a key is Advancing Macomb right now.
Do we,
Yeah.
because Advancing Macomb, we have a memorandum of understanding to run Sportport. And so their employees, which would be Thomas Barnes and Carl, who will run Sportport, would be the ones who have a key
How does the senior citizen group get in?
from them, through them, because they are partnering with them.
And they're also on the board for Parks and Rec, correct?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. And employees of under Sportport for Advancing Macomb, which we have a memorandum of understanding for.
And so a question was asked from the audience earlier. Let me just read it back. Who is supporting the upkeep of Carnes? So how are we paying for the janitor? How are we paying for the water, the electricity, things like that?
It's been donated through TCB at this point.
Well, some things have, but
Well, I
other
mean,
things are being paid for
she
by
said
the city.
janitor, I mean,
Utilities are being paid for by the city.
But do we have someone, like a city employee, going over there?
to clean and things.
Yeah, janitor,
No.
trash can, maintenance, sweeping.
It's
after
all
the
been
activity?
donated.
I've sent people over there for specific purposes. I've sent somebody over there to deal with plumbing issues. I've sent people over there to deal with HVAC issues, and I've sent somebody over there to deal with weather stripping doors.
But the day-to-day
And when you
janitor?
send somebody for those types of maintenance things, who is letting them in and who is overseeing the work?
When we've done that, I've either let them in or Tyler has let them in.
Okay, so getting back to CDBG and these allocations. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
No.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, didn't get quick enough here. Not my
Purchases
computer.
and payments.
I'm sorry?
Purchases and payments.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to Agenda 9F, purchases and payments of invoices.
Move to approve purchases and payment invoices as presented.
Support.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Commissioner Mentor, I see a tag on your page. Need one?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, see, everybody's
Yeah,
tagged.
okay. Anyone? Okay, roll call, please.
Fournier.
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
Yes.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Agenda item 10, consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hammond.
Yes.
Crop.
Yes.
Menser.
No.
Voorhees.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Dempsey.
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Agenda item 11, city manager's report. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. We're well into the budget process, and we actually last week now, because this was written last week, started department budget meetings. So I would say at this point, we're actually several weeks ahead of where we were a year ago, and we still anticipate presenting to the budget to the commission in late March. Upcoming events, Mickey earlier talked about the Fire and Ice Cook-Off and the Ice Carving Show. It's February 10th for the chili cook-off and 11th through the 13th for ice carvings. And if the weather stays cold, maybe a few days, maybe a week in addition to that. You think it's going to be 3 weeks?
Last year.
We don't want it that cold.
We can't figure out what they look like.
February 14th is Valentine's Day. Make your restaurant reservations early. We've got the Uptown Easter Extravaganza on Saturday, April 16th, and the Made in Michigan show coming up on May 6th and 7th. I wanted to bring your attention to a problem we discovered last week at the Anton Art Center. This started when we sent a contractor over to do a quote on tuck pointing the new part of the building. Phil tells me all the problems with that building are in the new part. But what he discovered was that the actual panels that we asked him to tuck point are basically falling apart and they're crumbling. And he told us they're suffering from alkali silica reaction, which is sometimes called concrete cancer. This is actually a common problem with concrete mixed about 15 years ago when the building was built. I've seen it happen on a number of other projects, pavement, curbs, and paver blocks that were done at about the same time frame. It was in, I believe, the sand or one of the other mixed materials that everybody was using at that time. A very large project that I believe was caused by the same thing as M6 in the western part of the state, which had to be rebuilt after 15 years, or a little less than 15 years. The plans for the building do show these panels, and I'm not sure whether they're panels or blocks, you can't tell just from looking. But they show them to be a facade, not structural components. And I've had Phil look at the inside structure, which is concrete block, to make sure that we don't have the same problem there. We do not seem to have the same problem, so it does seem to be just a facade issue. The plans actually show the facade being limestone, not concrete, but it is indeed concrete. And this, I suspect, was probably a very late change to save money on construction cost. At this point, we have no estimate of the repair cost, but I'll guarantee you it will be very expensive. I've asked Phil to look into possibly treating this as an opportunity and seeing if he can get a grant for an art project to install mosaic tiles on the building. Also, on dealing with art and art grants, Captain Shipman was notified that we are being awarded the Macomb County Partners in Art grant from the DIA. This will pay for the installation of a mural on the side of the fire station. We had a remote meeting with the DIA people on February 4th. And everybody seems very excited about the project. COVID-19, actually a little bit of good news. The COVID case rate in Michigan has started to decline.
You're probably going to jinx us.
Yeah, I know it. That's why I didn't say how many.
Stop putting these in here.
I did not put anything in here about how many city employees are out there now. Because every time I put that in, I am jinxing me. Macomb County infection rate is now about average for the state. Just a few weeks ago, Macomb County was leading the state. While the numbers are still very high, they seem to be moving in the right direction. Again, anybody age 5 or older is eligible to receive a COVID vaccination. And for more information, please visit Macomb County Vaccine Central. And we have the future agenda items.
Commissioner Menzer, you have a question for Mr. Johnson?
Yes, when we met on December 20th and we talked about the downtown maintenance contract, one of the businesses got up and was very vocal about the quality of work performed. And we were going to talk to that contractor, and that was going to come back. I haven't heard anything about it. Has the contractor been advised of the quality of his work and the improvement needed? And was that contract ever signed?
that wasn't a new contract. That was an existing contract, and it expires this fall. Do you remember what date I gave you?
November.
But the complaints were about the quality of the work, and there was going to be some discussion about that?
Yes.
Was there ever any discussion?
Apparently,
You
yes.
want to speak, Jeff, rather than just nod?
Yeah, I talked to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I called the contractor, I discussed the displeasure by the one business owner that was here, and, you know, they don't start again till spring. I'll address it again in the spring, and hopefully it gets fixed.
Okay.
It's either that or we rebid, and go from there.
As long as that contractor was talked to about the work performance, because that person was very unhappy.
They were also dissatisfied with the snow, so I certainly hope that it was better after my guys working for 42 hours straight.
You did a great job.
Anyone else have any questions for Mr. Johnson? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to, this is the second portion of the meeting, sorry, here we go. Second opportunity for the public to address the commission. We ask that you give us your first and last name, your residential address, and you abide by our 2-minute rule. First, we'll address those in person, and then the Zoom. Is there anyone in person who would like to address the commission at this time?
Thomas Barnes, 291 Jones Street, Mount Clemens. I want to speak to a couple of the things that were said here tonight, just so we can clarify. After your strategic planning meeting in 2020, it was seen fit by this board, commission, mayor, and city manager that we restart the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee, of which I was appointed to. I sat for several meetings in these seats with city employees and different community members and community organizations trying to figure out how we would reestablish recreation in the city of Mount Clemens and what it was that the Recreation Advisory Committee would do. We sent over a year that we've sat on this board, we sent one recommendation to this board. The one recommendation was that the city assesses a $200,000 a year budget for 3 years to pilot a program to get recreation revenue neutral again. Okay, that's what we did, one thing. It went into budgeting last year with this commission and got hacked down to $100,000, of which $75,000 of that was allocated by this board for the Boys and Girls Club. I felt that was probably one of the most disrespectful things that could have been done. The reason why I say that is because we forgot about our aging community, our aging population. I am a huge fan of the Boys and Girls Club and everything that they're going to provide to the city of Mount Clemens. I'm a huge fan of what they're bringing here for the children that are 5 to 13 years old. I look at Miss Ruthie, I look at Miss Jean, I look at General, and I think to myself, when I go sit in these River Acres meetings and they read me the Riot Act about Tommy, the only thing you're doing is providing recreational resources for kids, and then they tell me, what are we to do? These are people who don't drink, they don't go to bars, they're not concerned about marijuana establishments either. They just want to have fun in the city.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who in person would like to address the commission at this time?
Again, my name is Jean Dixon, 114 Middle Street. I just want to say I do appreciate the commission, and I just want to make sure that it's fair across the board, and that when we say community and business area, and the community, the neighborhoods are the ones that's supporting the business area. So should it be the business area come first, or should it be the community that comes first? Because our tax dollars are very valuable to us. And I think when you say businesses have their place, but when it's with a water main break, it's okay to make it be neighborhood. But then when it comes to what's going to concern our community, you want to put businesses first. Businesses will take care of themselves. Our community is what's important. Thank you.
I don't think she got it. Anyone else who would like to address the commission?
Carl Hay, 21 Second Street. I just want to reiterate some of what Tommy said. It's called the Boys and Girls Club. Giving them full control over the one active community center that we have means that you do leave out a group because they only offer programming for a subset of our community. We do have another community center. What programming is offered there? Did anybody raise questions when we were housing sport port equipment there as to how we were getting in and out of the building? Did anybody say anything? Because we sure gave away thousands of sports equipment and these little packs called, Project Play Kits. Thousands to our community in the surrounding area. And we used the other community center. And I know the commission knows because I came in here and personally thanked them for access to the building because of the MOU we had with the city. And no one ever asked how we got in and out of that building. What makes Carnes different? How is that a different situation? We had cars pulling in and out of that parking lot on Groesbeck. Nobody asked anything about traffic control, who was over there monitoring things. I'm just curious, what makes Carnes such a different story? When I mop them floors in there, because it's not a city thing, we're in there doing programming. And I pick up the trash and mop the floors, and Tommy picks up the trash and mops the floors. And we have two young gentlemen who, through Michigan Works, work for Sportport through us, and they pick up the trash and mop the floors. I'm not going to give an apology because I don't think we're doing anything wrong. I think we're providing a service for our community that our community deserves. Maybe you feel different, because I sure feel like the house on 21 Second pays its fair share in taxes. I would like to see some return on my taxes. This is America. We're a capitalist country. My money should give me something in return.
All right.
Good afternoon. Junior McCann said 550 Clemens River Drive. I just want to say to the board, left, right, left. Just quit kicking the can. Let's get it done. Thank you.
It's a good recreation game, though. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission in person? Can we move to Zoom? Nobody on Zoom? Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and move to commissioner comments. Mr. Campbell.
The one thing I would like to say is that all the water main breaks, which have been part of the conversation tonight, the workers from the street department, utilities department, working out in 0-degree weather, they deserve beyond compliments for the work they've done. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you. It's good to hear the update about the Boys and Girls Club and that the administration is still working with them over at the school. Hopefully, we'll have something over there. But the community need for the Carnes Center is highly important, especially for where Carnes is located. To see programs currently being sponsored there and having access, because I attend quite a few of the classes over there, the dance classes, and I like to see that it's a wide range of activities. It's just not for sports for the children to come and play basketball on Friday nights. You're also doing the sewing classes and the crochet classes and the dance classes. So it's for everybody in the community, not just for one area of Mount Clemens. And also I want to note that it is Black History Month, and I do want to honor some trailblazers from Mount Clemens. And I'm going to start with, I do have quite a list. The police officer, the first Black police officer, Bonner Upshaw, along with James Walker. I don't know if everybody remembers James Walker, but he was also a longtime police officer in the city of Mount Clemens. NFL player Wallace Chambers. He played for the Chicago Bears in 1973. Lee Williams was the first city commissioner for the city of Mount Clemens in 1967. And that also leads me into Bobby Hill, was city commissioner and also the Macomb County commissioner. And then our firefighter, Dwayne Thompson, was a black firefighter in Mount Clemens. And then next city commission meeting, I'll go into the women for Black history.
Thank you. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you. I just have one comment, and I want to thank Tommy and Carl and TCBY for stepping up. Because we could talk about stuff for a long time, and Boys and Girls Club is a good example. It is a great organization, but it has, while it's trying to raise $3 million, there's nothing happening at the Carnes Center except for Tommy and Carl, and they're the people that work with us. So thank you very much for everything you do.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
I think that there's been some interesting and diverse activities at Carnes. I was interested in the comedy night, learning how to tell jokes. I have seen the dance classes. I have seen the sporting events, the Pistons thing and the open basketball and the version of indoor soccer. The questions that I ask tonight are questions that are part of our responsibilities. Do you have a certificate of insurance? If you don't have a certificate of insurance for these groups, then that puts the city at great risk. And our financial and fiduciary responsibility is to take note of that. I have no complaint about the activities at Carnes. I think some of them have been very interesting, and I've told Sheila Beeman that one day I will get myself in and dance with her. I've known Sheila for quite a long time. I told her she could also laugh at me because, I have no coordination whatsoever. But we have a responsibility to the health and welfare of the city as far as insurance and who's going in and out of that building. The question of what happened at the Mount Clemens Community Center on Groesbeck and Sportport, you had one group in there passing out stuff. In Carnes right now, you have several groups coming in and out. And we have not been given an update, as you heard today, about the Boys and Girls Club or about how Carnes was being run. It's our responsibility to ask these kind of questions. And I don't think they should be, the questions should be taken negatively. It's not like we sat here and said, oh no, don't get out of the building. I have questions about how it's being handled, and that's our responsibility to ask. I believe that the activities there have been good for the children and that they have been good for the adults. Because I have watched some of those dance classes, and they look pretty interesting. And if I were retired, I would take the crochet class. But we have a responsibility to ask the questions and gain the answers, okay? One of the people that Ms. Hammond missed today was Roger Button. Roger Button was a first for a lot of things in this city. And he always, if you guys recall, always had stories for Black History Month. And so I would like to give a shout out to Roger Button. Wherever you are, Roger, we miss you. And I would like to say that our utilities staff have been working in extremely cold temperatures, early in the mornings, on the weekends, digging holes and repairing things. And I think they deserve a hell of a lot of credit for this. I think our DPS workers, for all of this snow, I shoveled my own house 4 times, you know, for all of the snow that these guys have dealt with in such a small period of time. They deserve our thanks. They deserve our appreciation. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Mayor Crop. I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's a big shout out to all the city employees who braved the snow this past Wednesday and Thursday and worked to serve our citizens. Special thanks again, Jeff, to the Public Service Department for cleaning the snow from the streets and the Water Department for fixing all the water mains. Nobody wants to be in sub-zero weathers and be totally wet. Congratulations to our city treasurer winners, Vito Strolis and Ross Champion. Both of these men have served the city well for many years, and best wishes to them. As many of you know, I'm a very strong MCHS fan. Once a bather, always a bather. I had the distinct pleasure and honor to have graduated with Molly Chambers, a true gentle giant in the truest sense of the word. A great man, and we miss him dearly. And with that, once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
Thank you.
Well, there's something to be said to being last here. I mean, ditto to what you have said about the DPS and everything that Denise had said. I think they deserve a shout out. Nobody wants to be out there working in this weather, and I appreciate everything they do. Congratulations to Vito Strolis and Ross Champion. Couldn't, for the Treasurer Award. I think they're both treasures, and they've done a lot for this community. A couple other people you didn't forget, I'm sure, Commissioner Hammond, but I just wanted to add them to your list, is Harold Henry.
Yes.
He was one of our commissioners for years I served with, and he was just a great guy to be on the commission with. And also William Ford, great bather, and also a great friend. So with that, I think some of the things that Commissioner Menser mentioned tonight about the Carnes Center should not be taken, at least from my end, as personal. I think she's absolutely right when she says it's a liability for the city and we just need to know how it's operating. And second of all, it's up to this commission to do something about recreation. We can't operate this way. We cannot continue to just whoever wants to do something for the city to pop up. I think we, as a commission, need to come up with what we're going to do with recreation. I appreciate what you guys are doing, but we need a program. Who's over the recreation program? No one right now. And the advisory board is just that. It's an advisory board. So I think we need to get together and figure out what we're going to do for our community to get Carnes with all the programs that you're doing. And I just think that it's up to us. We need to do something sooner or later to decide what we're going to do with recreation. Who's going to head it? And let us know how that goes with the Girls and Boys Club, please. And the YMCA you're talking to also.
Yes.
Appreciate if you could give us updates on that. Yeah, so, thank you.
I would like to first thank the commission because it's been a long Monday, and I appreciate all of your efforts. At our previous meeting before this one, with our work session, we had a long conversation that was somewhat arduous, but I appreciate the work that you are putting in. I also want to mention that there's so much going on uptown this weekend. Starting on Thursday, there will be a Turning Point fundraiser, the Vagina Monologues, will be at the Emerald Theater. There will be the chili cook-off, starting at 6:30 to 9:30. I have a coffee talk from 6:30 to 7:30, so stop and have a coffee and talk about current events happening in Mount Clemens, and then go get some chili. That's what I'm going to do. And then we have a lot happening, obviously, with the Ice Sculpture Festival Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And obviously, people want to be a part of our events and things happening in Uptown because we are seeing more investment by our businesses by participating. So that's an exciting thing happening. I had the pleasure of being elected by the SEMCOG Executive Committee on Friday to be one of the SEMCOG vice chairs. There are 5 vice chairs and a chairperson. So I will have the pleasure of finishing out a term that was vacated by now chairperson, Mr. Chris Barnett from Orion Township. And so I will do that until June. So I'm really excited to serve in that capacity and have Mount Clemens represented at that level of SEMCOG. I want to also mention I have a coffee talk tomorrow, Tuesday at 9:30, John's Family Grill. The coffee talk on Thursday will be at Black Cat Coffee, 6:30. I, from the beginning, have been talking about the need for recreation in this community and have tried to take as many steps as possible, including putting my money where my mouth is and supporting the organizations that are in Carnes and moving Carnes, and including participating in those activities and my own kids participating in those activities. I believe in recreation for this community and have tried to move this commission to make it a strategic plan goal and put our resources where those things go. And that has not been done since it was disbanded in 2004, 2007. A long time ago. And so we are moving recreation and we will continue to move recreation. And I believe that the people that are in the TCB and Advancing Macomb have been doing good things in this community. And I also believe that there has been unneeded speculation put on them that has not been put on by other groups. And I think that's not how we should conduct ourselves. So I will happily bring forward moves that this commission can make for recreation. They will cost money, but I think it's an investment that we need to make in this community. So with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you.